has led teams everywhere from the baseball field to the battlefield to the boardroom. Harvey Yergin is a certified EOS implementer at EOS Worldwide. But long before helping companies run better businesses, he was building and leading teams in some of the most intense environments imaginable. He's a Division One baseball leader, former U.S. Army team leader, and entrepreneur who built and exited a real estate company, and now works with founders to help them build what he calls awesome teams that actually get what they want from their businesses. Harvey's journey, including navigating two massive identity shifts, leaving government service to become an entrepreneur, and later exiting his business to reinvent himself again. Today, we're going to unpack the team building, the leadership under pressure, hiring mistakes, cost of real money, and how founders can stop overcomplicating their businesses and start building companies that actually work. Harvey, welcome to Entrepreneurship Uncovered.
Thank you. And we were giggling because I say badass teams, but you are so polite and
Yes.
so kind. You said you didn't want to say that. So awesome teams works
Awesome
perfectly.
teams.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And I love how we're discussing this because Harvey is actually my EOS implementer, and we met almost a year ago, and I it's so funny to have him in the seat this time because usually I'm in the hot seat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
welcome. I'm so excited to share your
Thank
story
you.
and
Thank you.
to really talk about some of the identity shifts that you've made over your career, just going from different positions, government into entrepreneurship, and then now in your
Yeah.
role as an EOS um, implementer. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. This is so
Yeah. Me
cool.
too. I'm glad to be here.
One of the things that we mentioned a little earlier on is the different arenas that you have worked in. And
Hmm.
so, we're talking about D1 athletes, which is pretty high level competency, in the college world, the
Yep.
U.S. Army, and then into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So, what leadership lessons really carried across all three of these?
I think what has carried through is this idea that it's not enough to just understand the thing or the work. I guess what keeps me engaged and performing at a high level is spending time only in places where I feel like my heart and soul align with whatever the work is. Because it usually comes down to people.
Hmm.
And we, especially in America, I don't know if this happens in other cultures, but we love to just promote people to leadership positions who are good at the task. Oh, you're awesome at whatever, sales.
Hmm.
You must then also probably be good at leading a team of salespeople.
Right.
But that, of course, doesn't always work
Yeah.
or pan out that way. Leading people tends to be the most difficult thing, which is what EOS and being an EOS implementer. That's why that job is so cool because like you understood finance, you understood tax strategies, you understood controllership.
Hmm.
When you wanted to grow this business that you were passionate about, you knew you had to build and sustain a team. And like a lot of entrepreneurs' journey, including my own, that tends to just rock our world.
Yes.
People is the hardest part. So it's not enough to know about tax and
Right.
about finance. You have to know what it takes to get a bunch of human beings and their energy all pointed in the same direction. And that's really tough. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter if you're on the baseball field or you are in a tactical environment in the military or it doesn't matter, or you're leading a family.
Yeah.
There are some fundamentals that just you have to figure out to get human beings all headed in the right direction, in the same direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the biggest challenge. You can have the analytical mind, you can have, great technical skills, but people, it's what it comes down to is can you build a company full of people that essentially have all different ideas of how they want to operate and how they want to do things. So how do you get them behind one vision?
Hmm.
And that definitely is a game changer once you do. You did mention experiencing, a couple of identity crises throughout your career. So first leaving the government to become an entrepreneur and then um, later exiting your business. So what was emotionally harder, starting your first company or walking away from the one that you actually built?
Emotionally harder. Um, I would say walking away from the business that I built. Um,
Hmm.
when I quit my government job, I didn't actually know that I had ideas that I was going to go do something in real estate and go do business stuff, but I didn't really know. I was basically like, I know I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
Let's see what comes next.
Yeah.
Um, which
That's
was
a,
more exciting than anything.
yeah. And I think that happens a lot. Like a lot of people leave their jobs and they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's next.
Yeah.
Then they say,
Yeah.
it's time for
Yeah.
something
And when I was able to package my business up and sell it to another brave entrepreneur, it was also a decision to leave something behind. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen next
new.
either,
Mhm.
but it just felt different. And I think it felt different because it was hard. It was really, really hard. Like that journey from starting a company, taking a partner, building a team, growing, the chaos of growing, the loss of sleep, the worry, the making the overhead, the conflict between internal people and external people, the highs and lows, the wins and losses. Um, And then, when I decided to sell my business, it wasn't because I knew exactly what I wanted to do, or it wasn't because like I had this gigantic offer on the table. It was
Yeah.
because I finally had gotten clarity on a couple key things that took me several years to figure out. One is that the partnership that me and my partner had, it was never going to work, and it wasn't his fault, and it wasn't my fault. Like it wasn't all his fault and it wasn't all my fault. It was our collective faults of
Sure.
why that wasn't ever going to work. So that was painful.
Yeah.
And two, thankfully I realized I had this realization, but it was also a painful one at the same time. And it was that I hated it.
Yeah.
I could not, I finally realized that I was also never going to work in this business because I didn't actually like real estate that much.
Oh,
Um, and it was like it was kind of like an oh shit, like did I just waste all this time? Did I just waste 5, 6 years of my life? The answer, of course, is no, because I
right.
learned so much and it
Oh,
and set
yeah.
me up for something else. But all of that is a lot to
Yeah.
digest and to handle and to process. And I'm thankful to be able to have, like I said, like handed that off to somebody else.
Hmm.
But it was also Yeah, it was tough. It
Yeah.
was a very tough time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, what advice would you give founders who are feeling their identity is being tied too closely to their business? And we talked about this briefly with me,
Yeah.
like I am Mod Ventures. No, you are a separate person of Mod Ventures. And how do you separate the two? So, what would be your best advice?
Man, oh man, I think it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
And it makes sense on why it's hard. I
Hmm.
mean, you breathe life into something that didn't exist before. Like it
Right.
literally, Mod Ventures at one point just did not exist, and then you just breathe life into it. Like we were saying, it's just kind of like having a kid. Like this
Mhm.
human being that didn't exist before, and then like, wow, I made that thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then and then that creates a certain level of attachment to that thing because it literally has your DNA all over it.
Hmm.
Um, And for a long time, it is it's everything you do. It is everything you are because you're pouring so much of yourself into it. But then there is this pivotal moment where you decide or you notice that this entity is just matured and it's beautiful, and it's ready to blossom into something that it's never been before. And in order for that to happen, it needs different kind of decisions, and it probably needs you, the
Hmm.
owner, founder, to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Again, much like a teenager or a young adult, they need to go figure things out on their own. I think we all kind of understand the context and narrative of that.
Yeah.
The tough part, though, is then making the decision to do it. And I guess a few nuggets that I have for making that transition is one, just the mental gymnastics that is envisioning that your company is separate from yourself. You are not your company. You
Right.
are not, I am not my company. You are not your company. It is a separate entity. So literally, like in the sessions with you, I've had you guys envision that Mod Ventures or the entity, the organization or business is sitting in a seat by itself, and you are charged for its care. And
Right.
you are charged for making the best possible decisions for its care. And sometimes those decisions are, well, it's actually me. I need to get out of the way. And then another nugget I would have is there are tools out there to make it easier for you to do that,
Hmm.
tools like the ones that you're learning through EOS
Hmm.
that help give structure and process and conversation and decision making, um, frameworks and tools to make that transition maybe a little bit easier, but at least more clear on what actually needs to happen to get to that point.
I think that it has been very, very helpful to actually give Mod Ventures a place at the table and say, what does this person need? Like, what does she need? You know,
Right, right.
what can we do to really set this thing up so that it's successful without us actually emotionally thinking about it, but more in a way of like analytically, this is just logically what it needs.
It tends to help people be a little bit more objective in their
Yeah,
decision making.
yeah, for sure. I love that you mentioned the tools because I think that's a big part of EOS and in the context of managing great teams and really just getting the tools in order to make that happen. One of the things that we used to do all the time is like we had all these people, and then we would put them in org charts, and then we would try to create the job for that person. And
Yeah.
I think what really made a difference completely was the accountability chart. So I really would love to hear how, in the context of using these EOS tools, how the accountability chart kind of clarifies things completely
Yeah.
when it comes to what the business needs.
EOS, it is a way for business owners to get everything they want from their business. And we do that by helping that business owner and their team install and implement a complete, proven system of simple, practical tools to help them get three things that we call vision, traction, and healthy. And vision, traction, and healthy are oftentimes at least a combination of things that a business owner and their team is struggling to get. Um, and so, what is vision? Vision is getting everybody on the same page with where you're going and how you plan to get there.
Mhm.
Traction is instilling real accountability and real discipline so that you're executing towards every piece of that vision really, really well. And then healthy is making that leadership team cohesive, healthy, fun loving, open and honest team that enjoys being around each other as they work towards that vision. We always start with the leadership team because however the leadership team is going, that's the way the rest of the organization is going. And the tools that we're one of the tools that we're talking about right now, that was a part of your question, is the accountability chart. And the accountability chart is to help us get to this point of having 100% right seats. And right seats just means that we have all of the people in our organization are in a seat that they can crush over and over and over again. which is the dream, right?
Right. That's the dream
Which is the
state.
intent when we
Yeah.
hire people, is to bring people on that are very competent at their job that we don't have to hold accountable. We don't have to manage super hard. We don't have to kick in the tail to do the things.
Hmm.
Right seats is the answer to that, but it's simple, but it's without a tool like the accountability chart, it's hard to achieve.
Hmm.
So you mentioned how it's different than an org chart. And yes, gosh, I've worked for the government. If you've ever worked in corporate America or if you've tried to run a business on an org chart, then you know that those things are basically about titles and about ranking structure and do very little in regard to actually depicting or driving accountability,
Right.
which is something that I hold you and all my clients. I challenge them on when inevitably there's a title on the accountability chart.
Yeah.
I push you on it because what we want is we want it to reflect immediately what the person in that seat is actually accountable for,
Right.
not what their title is. What are they accountable for? And we always start structure first, which is another difference to an org chart that is often created, as you mentioned, based
Hmm.
on the pool of people who are already here.
Yeah.
The org chart says everybody's fired. Forget them all. Just
Hmm.
forget all the people that are here. We're not concerned with them right now. What we want to know is that entity that's over here in the corner, what functions do they have? What work exists for them to be as healthy and productive and as possible and to move forward? And we start putting those in the accountability chart. And we all know every single organization usually has typically three primary functions with some variation. Everybody's got to go generate interest and then turn that interest into a decision to either buy or be a part of whatever it is that you're selling or doing. That's marketing and sales. And I don't care if you run a church or if you run a financial services firm, you have it. You got to do that work.
Right.
Once you bring them in, you have to deliver on that really well.
Right.
We call that operations.
Hmm.
And then once you're delivering a service, there's usually some amount of money tied to it, and there's other administrative tasks. There's probably some HR, maybe some IT. We tend to just call that function finance and admin. Those are the three primary functions. And if you have three functions, then you need another function to orchestrate the way that those functions work together because they often compete for resources. They often
Right.
have different ideas on how things should be done, even though they are collectively working towards a common vision. Sales wants this, they prioritize this, they think this is the most important thing. Operations has a different opinion. We've
Sure.
probably been part of those discussions. The integrator in an EOS um, accountability chart is that seat. They drive accountability. They harmoniously integrate the way that those different functions work together towards a common goal or vision. They have tough conversations. They lead. They're in the trenches. They run the day to day.
Right.
It's imperative. Every organization has to have one, and the organizations that are chaos usually don't or have the wrong person in that seat. And then about 50% of the time, there's a visionary. And a visionary is usually the founder, not always, and they have all the ideas. They're coming to every meeting with 20 different ideas of all the things that came to their brain when they were sleeping last night. 20 ideas, usually 19 of them are terrible, but there's usually one that's, pretty dang good.
Yeah.
They manage the biggest relationships. They keep their pulse on the market, or on the environment or on the community. They stay at 30,000 feet. They don't want to, and they're not good at running the day to day. That is the integrator's job.
Hmm.
So once we understand these basic fundamentals, and again, we haven't mentioned any people yet. We
Right.
have our basic structure. We just tailor that first layer of the accountability chart to meet your specific needs. Because it might make sense to break out with like your accountability chart. You have marketing and sales, right, as a two
Hmm.
separate functions.
Yeah.
We just get it right. And then we start putting in just five high level accountable roles that seat is accountable for. And whoever's going to own that seat is accountable for. And by high level roles, I literally mean like lead and manage people, hit revenue goals, drive leads, convert leads, high level stuff that like marketing and sales would be accountable for. We do that for all the seats, and then we put people in. And we only put people in those seats where the things that the seat has to get done really, really well, those five roles I was talking about, is an exact match for that person's natural talent, desire, and skills and experience. Natural talent, desire, and skills and experience. And if it's not a match, they don't get the seat.
Right.
And this is how these are hard decisions a
Yeah.
lot of times, but this is how we get to a point where first we're clear on what work actually exists, and two, we're only putting people in seats where they can actually crush that job, and so that we can get 100% right seats. And now, oh my gosh, now we have this organization of people who are actually good at their jobs, and the things that they do and do well are exactly what the organization needs.
Yeah.
That's everything we want, isn't it?
Right. 100%. And I think the hardest part for me was to get the mindset of the org chart out and separate out, you know, for me it was like we always made a seat for somebody. They may not always be good at this 100%, but we would put them in that role anyway. And
Yeah,
that I think always caused a lot of trouble because we were
yeah,
always trying to adjust things instead of
yeah,
saying, what does the business need? So I think
right.
that was like one of the hardest but most important aspects of working with you, probably within the first like 6 months.
Yeah.
Um, we had to
Mm.
do that. And I think we're reevaluating all the time. Is this the best seat? Is this the best person to be in this seat?
Yeah.
So um,
Yeah.
one of the biggest things I think we've gotten from EOS so far.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. And there's a reason why in the first 3 hours on the very first day that you start your ELS journey, that's what you do. That's the work you do.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is one of the questions that founders or business owners are always saying, because I hear it from everybody. But when founders say, I can't find good people, what do you think is usually the problem?
I say this with all the love I can muster, but it's usually them. That's the problem.
Oh,
And me, and me as a former business owner, yeah, it's them that's the problem because what does that actually mean? Like if you've said that before, when you hear people saying it, what does it actually mean? What are they actually saying?
actually, what they're saying is that they're not very good at picking the right people to work for them.
Yes. Yeah.
That's truly what it's saying. It's like
Yeah.
their system's broken or their hiring system is broken, something like that.
Yeah, and I think there's this like assumption that if like we should be good at picking people, like
Right.
that we should be just naturally good at this. And
Yeah,
here's what I mean by it's usually them that's the problem. Mechanically, it's probably that you don't actually have clarity on what you need.
you're right.
And that if you're not clear, then the market isn't clear, then the candidate isn't clear, and then that hire is still not clear. And then when you sit around and talk about how terrible they are and how they just did not meet your expectations, I wonder how clear your expectations actually were. Because if you don't have a seat that's built out where the roles, the accountable roles are crystal clear, and it's clear to them on who they report to and what they're accountable for and how they're going to be held accountable. You can have the best job description in the world. It doesn't last.
Right.
It's gonna fail. So there's that. Two is you're not clear on your own core values. You're
Right.
not clear on the intrinsic set of guiding principles that are timeless for you on what you hold most true and most dear to you at your core and the way you expect other people to behave and to interact with you and to approach work. And until you define those things, then you're not going to go find other people who are attracted to the same things.
Right.
And when they have a different set of core values from you, that's when we surround ourselves with people that we do not particularly enjoy.
Yeah. True.
And we know the difference, right? We know the people that we love spending time with,
Hmm.
that when it's frictionless and we look forward to being with them, more often than not, they just have in a drastic overlap of core values. And those are the kind of people that we want to surround ourselves with. And this is the work. This is it's not only possible, but it's the work that we do to get people that feel good to be around and who are actually good at their job and are super clear on what they're accountable for and what your expectations are. And we mix those two things together. Voila! Well, there's plenty of good people out there. There's literally billions of people.
Hmm.
We just got to figure out what it is that we're looking for, and why they're coming. Last thing I'll say on good people
Yeah.
and why it's oftentimes the um, founder is the problem. I made this mistake. I started a business because of money. I started a business because it was what I thought the best decision or choice on what was going to make the most money in the short amount of time, which is very common.
Hmm.
When a business is founded on this motivation, it has a hollow feel to it.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of stickiness or heart and soul. There's not much going on underneath the surface that would move somebody. And as we know, people make decisions from their emotions, not their head. People make emotional decisions. So if they are not drawn to you, if they're not passionate about coming to work for your company, you're probably missing the heart and soul of your company. And I would encourage you to find it because that's what people are attracted to.
Right. In the beginning, it's with a as a business owner, we've all been through that. Like we've our desire is to help people generally, but we got to make ends meet too. So, those two things really war with each other. But as your company really matures, you have to, in order to bring on a team and motivate others, you have to have a higher purpose. And I think that that is something that founders, good founders, are able to continue to. That's why the visionary is so important, is you got to continue to tell people why it's important of what we do, and
Yeah.
and help them understand how we're contributing to our client's success or customer success, whichever it is. And I think that is a very big job of a CEO. And it doesn't happen like overnight, because if you're moving from one place to another, like I'm trying to figure out where I can let go of some hats and really be in that position full time.
Yeah.
Something I want to be in full time, but it takes time to get there. And so it's like remembering to always be thinking about your values and hiring from the values and integrating those values and communicating those values over
Yeah.
and over and over and over. And that's, I think, makes a big difference in how you grow and, again, keep the right people, keep or hire the right people. So it's a big, big
Yeah.
part of.
Yeah. Core values, we call it and the other part of this being core focus, which is the EOS term for, mission or vision. It has another benefit, those two things, other than making it way easier to hire. It makes it way easier to make decisions. Um,
Yeah.
I know you have been here. I've definitely been trying to make some sort of decision or multiple decisions and just feeling like we just go around and around and around, and it's not particularly clear what the
Yeah.
decision is or why it would be that decision. And then we define the core focus, which is why you're here in the first place, the good you want to do in the world, your passion
Right.
or your purpose with what you're best in the world at and what you're doing in the world about trying to push that vision and that purpose forward. And we can define those things, then the decision making is simpler. Does it help us do this thing for these people in this way or not? And if not, then it's no. And
Yeah.
if yes, then it's yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Internally, I can tell when I'm not, following the right things, but how do founders know when they're pursuing the wrong things? Like,
Oof.
I know intrinsically, like when it just doesn't feel good. But
Yeah.
what would you say is a good indication that a founder is just chasing the wrong thing?
Like chasing the wrong thing, like hiring the wrong people, or do you mean chasing the wrong thing, like the business itself?
Let's say money is the only focus.
Mm,
So I would say that's the wrong thing because we all know that if you're just going to pursue money all the time, you're missing out on opportunities for growth in so many other ways. So you're
yeah,
missing out on opportunities and growing yourselves personally. You're missing out on really your core values and what you want to accomplish in the world. When I'm pursuing the wrong thing, it's truly not pursuing the right. It's more like focused on the wrong thing, you know. It's
yeah,
more about ego or,
yeah,
and trying to maintain a certain persona. I've been
sure.
guilty of that before,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, like,
yeah,
you're trying to protect your ego, you're trying to protect this idea of who you are or who this business is instead of getting really real with
yeah,
what you're doing. So,
yeah. For me,
I,
it probably feels similar, but it feels like angst. It feels like I'm really, in fact, two people that really care about me in the last 6 months have said this about me over two different things that I'm endeavors that I'm a part of. They're like, it just feels like you are like maintaining this grip on this thing. It's like this death grip. Like you're just trying to force this thing into what you want it to be. And ugh.
yeah,
When they say it, it doesn't feel good. It's like, oh, I thought I was doing a pretty good job hiding that. And two, yeah, geez, it's exhausting.
right.
It's not particularly fun. There's a lot of fear around it.
Yeah,
A lot of internal, like physical angst. That's the best way I can describe it.
yeah,
Whereas on the opposite end of that, it's like this trust, this faith,
yeah,
this feeling of peace that the results will be what they're going to be, and the results are most likely going to be great because of the current approach.
right.
Um, the right things are happening. They're being done the right way. They're being done in a way that is keeping genuine care and concern for other people at the forefront.
Hmm.
Um, those are two totally different feelings. And
Totally
I don't
opposite.
know.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and so the first step is really to pay attention to that and be curious about what those feelings might indicate.
I had a friend tell me this once, and she said, sometimes you have to change your perspective. And sometimes it's about getting grateful and just sitting back and being grateful for where you are instead of always looking for, what's wrong or, so
Yeah.
gratitude is a big part of that practice. And I think, you know, I'm a driver personality, you're a driver personality type. And so I think for me, I used to tell people it's like, yeah, I don't know if you've been around horses at all, but you have horses that are barn sour. And so they'll essentially take the bit in their mouth and run back to the barn,
Uh,
and you
yeah.
can't really like stir it. That was me. I like, I'm gonna do this no matter what. I'm gonna take this bit and I'm gonna run as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And I don't have experiences like that anymore, thank God. But I think in the beginning, I was so driven to get certain things done or be at a certain place that I would do things that were not necessarily one in the company's best interest, number two, my best interest. And
Yeah.
because I was so driven and not willing to like put down the ego and release some of the fear.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens a lot in founders.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely happened to me. I mean, not even, I mean, pretty recently where somebody asked me, like to your point, you said something like, I want this to be a certain way. I want it to have a certain level of like, success. And the message behind that is, well, when I get to that point,
Yeah.
then, and so somebody asked me, well, then what will that mean?
Yeah.
Well, it just means like, I'm validated. I did
Right.
it. I did it. And they're like, what does that mean? Well, it probably means now, at least in my head, at this point, it means that, oh, I'm actually worth something.
Yes,
I'm actually like,
I
I'm
proved
actually,
somebody wrong,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
proved somebody wrong. I'm now worthy.
yes, I'm worthy. I can, hopefully, my parents will now be proud of me.
Yes.
Uh, you know,
It's all
it's like, it's never really about the accomplishment of that thing. It's about what it means to you.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, kind of this is coming full circle, but I think that's also separating yourself from the business a little bit. That's the only way you really survive, I think, entrepreneurship is because otherwise you're just trying to validate yourself the entire time. And
Yeah.
it's super hard way to go.
It's
It's
as if the business is not successful, then that means you fill in the blank. I'm a loser. I'm a piece of crap.
yes,
And
exactly.
I don't want to be that. In fact, I want so badly for everyone to recognize how awesome I am. So,
Absolutely.
and so to do that, I'm going to force this business to that level, no matter
Mhm.
what it takes.
Yeah, yeah, and that doesn't feel good. And I think that leads to so many, things around burnout, and
Yeah.
you can't be a good leader in that realm.
No.
There's a lot of reasons why businesses fail when you get to that point because you are pushing so far out of maybe even uh, what might be feel authentic and good to you. And you're doing that to the rest of the team as well. So it's so interesting how we affect everything.
Mhm.
If we're not able to really step back and say, okay, well, what does this business need? I love that you're really focused on building awesome teams. And so, what do you think is the three traits of every awesome team that you've experienced?
Oh, I like to, what I like to talk about? I like to talk about bad teams because I've been on a lot of bad teams.
Yeah, tell me.
So what do bad teams have? Bad teams, they don't know why they're there in the first place. They're just doing a bunch of random activity for seemingly no bigger purpose or vision or plan.
Mhm.
100% we've been on teams like that. Great teams, then they understand why, what, not only where is this all going, what does winning look like, what are we working towards, but what's my part in doing it, and how can I help?
Right.
But what winning teams do. Bad teams also are full of people who are not accountable, they're not disciplined, they're not particularly good at their job, um, and no one cares. So for me, that was the government.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people who were there just taking up oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
and it was tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
And great teams don't tolerate that. They're very clear on what accountability looks like, very clear on what it specifically means to be very good at your job. And if you're not fulfilling one of those two things, or you're not doing a good job, then there's going to be a conversation. There's going to be action,
Mm-hmm.
because the mission and vision is too important not to do something about it.
Yeah.
And then poor teams, they hate each other. They can't stand. They hate the thought of waking up on a Monday and going to work. They gossip. They form cliques. There's politics. There's self-preservation. There's no consideration for the greater good of the organization or the team. They all look forward to Friday, and then they dread Monday again, and round they go.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas really great teams, they cannot wait to be with the people that they're with, when they go to work or when they are a part of that team, and they thoroughly enjoy it, and they all have each other's backs, and it's not void of conflict, but they work together, in a healthy, cohesive way towards that vision. So I think at the highest level, those are three things that really define bad teams and good teams.
Yeah. No, I love that. Oh boy. We've all been a part of bad teams before, right? And so you're like, I know what I don't
Yes.
want.
Yes. Yeah. It's painful. It's no way to live, really. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the work I do as an EOS implementer, because yes, it helps the business owner for sure. There's a
Yeah,
lot of business owners out there who are just in a lot of pain,
yeah,
and it helps the business owner. But then we start there, and then it creates this environment where everybody enjoys waking up on Monday morning and going to work.
right,
Like
right.
that, what a gift. And
Yeah,
what is their like the impact on their family? The biggest surprise for me in my career as an EOS implementer is how other facets of people's lives, once they get down the EOS journey, change too as a part of this work. They get healthier. They start changing the way that they eat and exercise, or they like start going to therapy, and they start like the whole version of them starts getting healthy just from this work that they're doing
yeah,
with EOS that is very specific to the business that they work in.
yes,
That's been a surprise, but I mean it's just so awesome the ripple effects that this has for people.
yeah. Well, I would say for sure because, when you start putting in certain habits into your system, it kind of you grow other systems and other habits, and it's very natural, I think, that that happens. And I think when you become more disciplined in one area, it starts to spill it over into other areas.
Yeah, I think you're
And
right.
discipline is like one of the main things, like discipline and commitment, huge part of EOS. I think you know, everybody has to be committed to the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're naturally growing more committed and more disciplined over time. For our founders that are listening today, and they're feeling stuck, with this dysfunctional team, where should they start fixing things first?
And let's just say that everyone's clear on what they're accountable for, everyone's clear on where this is all going, and everyone has the same core values and they're still dysfunctional. Um, we teach from this book called The Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
Right,
And it does come down to trust,
right,
which is at the bottom of the pyramid. And if there isn't trust, then there isn't good conflict. And if there isn't good conflict, then there's no actual commitment to anything. And if there's no actual commitment to anything, there does not actually the inability to hold people accountable. And if you can't hold people accountable, then there's no results. And
right,
so dysfunctional team usually means like worse results than you could be getting otherwise. Um, and so, number one, I'd say read that book. And number two, I'd say focus on building real vulnerability-based trust across your team, assuming those other things are already in place,
yeah.
and watch how your results go up and your dysfunction goes down.
Yeah. What is also one system or habit every founder should implement immediately to run a better business?
Put in an operating system.
Right,
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be EOS, but a operating system is better than no operating system. And without an operating system, you're just leaving your people dangling.
right,
They don't have clarity. They don't have direction. There's probably lack of discipline and accountability. So go find one that seems like it's going to work for you and do what it takes to put it in place,
yeah,
because your people deserve it,
right,
really, and your business deserves it, and you deserve it.
right. Yeah. And scaling without it is going to be almost impossible. It's going to be crazy. It's just crazy. It's
Yeah,
chaos. So, all
right.
right. So this is the fun segment. Not that this hasn't been fun so far, but
Finally, we're gonna have some fun,
we're gonna have
Gabby.
some fun.
Yeah.
No, this is some rapid fire questions. So,
Okay.
worst hire you ever made?
Man, I made a hire one time, and I had to have her escorted out of the building.
Oh my
She,
gosh.
she was threatening to kill people.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, she totally got me, totally tricked me. I did not. It's a few, like I feel like I read people really well. Woo, I had a miss on that one too. And I think like my secondhand guy at the time, he was like, "Are you sure about this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, she's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
great."
it's great.
Yeah. Nope, not good.
I love it. Okay. Best leadership lesson you learned from sports.
I think the best leadership lesson, I think what's coming next is the best one from like working with the military.
Hmm.
And I think one thing that the business world could learn from both of those environments that have carried through is there's just something about both those environments where it's okay to challenge the people around you. And I'll just say call them out. And I don't mean in a malicious way, but I mean in a challenging way, like, dude, you could be better and you're not. What's going on?
Yeah,
That level of conversation and of trust and vulnerability and challenge, it takes sometimes years to get a leadership team to that level.
yeah,
If a good sign that your leadership team or your team in business is there is when you're putting each other's names on the issues list. And if you're not doing that yet, then you probably have work to do. But it just seems because of I guess maybe just the nature of those two arenas, um, where it just happens more readily and easily, and it's very productive.
yeah. Love that. Calling people out. So I love that. One book every founder should read.
Nah. Well, I want to say Traction, but I feel like that
Yeah.
uh,
No, I mean, Traction's a great book.
Traction is a great book. It's another EOS book, but it's called the EOS Life. And I like that book because it's very high level and it's an easy read. And founders usually are visionaries, and visionaries usually have short attention spans.
Very
And
short. Yes.
um, this that book is a good one because it's catered to people who have shorter attention spans, and it talks about it helps you zoom out and get a sense of why you started this business in the first place
Mm,
and what your life could look like if you installed an operating system of sorts, for instance. So there's five layers of what your life could look like that we call the EOS life, and then there's a bunch of information on how you can get to that life. And I think that changes the way that founders or business owners think about what's possible for them in their life, and gives them a path to get there. So that book is called The EOS Life.
perfect. I'm gonna pick it up because I haven't read it yet.
Nice.
Sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
Okay, closing question.
Yeah.
Last question. One piece of advice to entrepreneurs trying to build a company and a life they love, what would that be? What advice would you give them?
Just seems like it's another softball to talk about EOS. And I do think that is my advice is to implement an operating system. And I'm partial to EOS because that's what I used as a business owner, and that's the world I live in now. Go read the book Traction, or
Mhm,
um, go talk to an implementer in your network. I don't care. This isn't a sales pitch, and it's not about you reaching out to me after you listen to this or some. I frankly don't care. What I care about is you getting what you want from the business that you have created, and it being a contributing part of a very rich and vibrant life for you.
mhm.
And I just have seen it over and over and over again that the path to get there is to implement some tools that help your people get clarity and focus. Uh, and EOS is a path to get there, and it just
Yeah,
works. It just
yeah,
freaking works.
yeah. Well, and what I'll say as far as like the testimonial I have around EOS and what it's done for me is, as a founder, I've been in business for over 20 years. And what EOS has done for me is like help me put the structure in place so that I can stop wearing all of the hats and help me elevate my position in the company to where I am, you know, also allowed to be the owner, and not actually execute on every single thing that's happening in the company. And I think
Mm,
for founders that have been operating for a long time, there's always this feeling that you're never going to be able to step away, or you can't take a vacation, or, you know, you're not going to be able to focus on maybe a nonprofit that you enjoy working with, or maybe
right.
even want to create a nonprofit. there are other things that people find interesting and they always feel potentially trapped.
Yep.
So I feel like EOS has been one of those things that has, and I have seen other owners also be able to get different things into perspective for themselves and start executing on the things that they're really, really excited about. One in particular, has gone in and started his own nonprofit and is working closely and doing events and working more
Yeah.
closely with veterans.
Yeah.
And those are the things that light you up.
Yeah.
And sure, they love what they do in the daytime, but they also have other interests. And I think it's so amazing
Right.
and you can see that what you've built can now contribute to something else and you can build something else.
Yeah.
And I think for entrepreneurship and for founders that are interested in things like that, EOS is such a roadmap. It's a plan on how to
Yeah.
get there. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I have seen in my experience and what I have felt in my own experience. Just, you know, less than a year in, I feel like that's now there's possibility.
Yeah.
Whereas before it's like, okay, I feel a little trapped here. So
Man, that's great to hear. That's got to feel good.
it feels really good. So, Harvey, I definitely want to thank you for helping us navigate through those things. And I do hope that if our audience is excited and wants to hear more about EOS and even just wants to, learn more about you, Harvey, that they reach out to you. So, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
My email,
Okay.
harvey.yergin@eosworldwide.com. My practice manager will grab it. And yeah, I just love talking to business owners. Again, I'm not, if we wind up doing something together, fine. If we don't, we don't. Hopefully, I can just help you and point you in the right direction.
Absolutely. So, and that has been my experience as well. Harvey's a great wealth of information and support. So, again, thank you for everything that you've done for Mod Ventures. So, to the audience, if you haven't been here this long, make sure that you like and subscribe because you're going to be hearing from a lot of wonderful people just like Harvey and learn from either our mistakes or, what we've learned along the way. So, just love to have you on this journey with us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.